Many times, many ways. Merry Christmas to you.
So here we are, the last week of our series, Gifts Fit for a King. So the first week we talked about gold and how it means kingship on earth, and how Jesus came down and established his kingdom on earth in preparation for the kingdom to come, which is heaven. And the second week we talked about frankincense and how the definition for that means deity. And this week we're going to be talking about myrrh. And myrrh is a symbol of sacrifice. So think about if somebody passes away, right? And you on their body, you embody their body and you put fragrance on it, and it smells like you want the best smell as they're home going. But for Jesus' case, yeah, he was given myrrh, and it was everything was kind of predicting what was going to happen. It was foreshadowing what was going to take place. But in Jesus' case, he died and rose again. So, and it's interesting. My thoughts about it is interesting, and how even though it's a symbol of sacrifice, he sacrificed himself and defeated death. So that's another definition for it. It's a symbol of death. So he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed being in comfort in heaven and being away from us to come down to us. So he sacrificed everything he had, all the power he had to come down to save us. If that's not sacrifice, I don't know what is. And that gift is, even though the wise men were giving that gift to him, he was giving the gift to them as well. Like, they probably didn't notice it, or they probably knew from seeing the star, from hearing the angel telling them not to go in a particular direction, because King Herod was out to kill. He wasn't out to serve the same king that they were trying to serve. In Isaiah 53, verse 7 to 12, it says, "He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as sheep before its shearers, and is silent. So he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. Yet who of his generation protested? For he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was punished. He was assigned a grave with the wicked, and with the rich is in his death. Though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth, yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. And though the Lord makes his life an offering for sin, he will see his offspring and prolong his days. And the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. After he has suffered, he will see the light of life and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercessions for the transgressors. So, interceding on our behalf, Jesus was like the middleman, right? If you think about business, he was interceding on our behalf. And if we didn't have that interceding, that intercession, we will have no access to the kingdom. And he paid our debt. Like, it's so much more than, our student loan that we're always like thinking about. It's like, oh man, we gotta pay this. Like man, when would it stop? But for Jesus, he paid that debt, and we don't have to worry about it. He paid it in full. He paid it with his body. He paid it with his tears. He paid it with every ounce of his body. And he knew all his life. His ministry started when he was 33. And for the Jewish culture, before then, after he was in the temple and he was explaining to Mary and Joseph what was going on, right? How he had to be in his father's house, but he was still obedient to his parents. So after that, like in the Jewish culture, the son takes after the dead's lifestyle, because when the dead passes away, the son has to then provide for their family. And so he was a carpenter for all those years until he was 33. He was a carpenter for all those years. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to know what was like the filler parts of his life. Like, what was he doing until then? Like, was he just doing the carpentry work, or was he out establishing his ministry? And if that's not the case if he was not out there establishing his ministry and he was just being behind his father, that's important for us and important on how we have to wait on the Lord. He was not moving prematurely to his assignment. He knew where he had to go. He knew where he had to go, but he knew that there were seasons in life. He knew that he should not move prematurely, because if he did, he could have messed up something. And throughout Jesus' life, he was always saying, it's not my time yet. It's not the time yet. And people did not understand, because as people, we're always rushing. We're like, hey, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this. But Jesus was like, hey, I'm going to live in the pocket. I'm going to live in the pocket of where God is leading. Right? It's like a quarterback taking their time. The offensive line is there. And then if the offensive line is good or bad, the quarterback, if they're very skilled, they know how to take their time. Like if you're Russell Wilson, he knows how to take his time, and he knows how to evade the defense coming at him, right? Lamar Jackson the same way. But in Jesus' case, he knew where to evade. When the priest was coming toward him, he knew how to get out of that, because it was like it's not his time. And when he was finally caught, he was in the garden. Right, like Adam and Eve. Adam was the first Adam. Jesus is the second Adam. He was in the garden of Gethsemane. But he was in the garden praying to God. He was willing to give up his life to restore ours, which is crazy. And that's restoration justice. Restorative justice of God restoring to everything to what it should be, to what it already was, but it's gonna be better. Cause when you restore a house, you don't restore it to what it previously looked like. You juice it up. Like you want to sell the house, you juice it up. So God is preparing something far grand, right? And Jesus what he was doing, coming in, taking the keys back to the mansion. He went down uh to hell, defeated death, and like, man, it's crazy because he took back the keys. He took back the keys for our mansions, everything that is promised to us, because he is the son. He is the son of God. He's gonna be sitting on the side, like the Holy Trinity, right? And because of that, because he's the heir to the throne, we are as well, because we're in that same lineage. Man, it's a remarkable story, and whew, man, I can go on and on. But this Christmas, remember the three gifts as you're giving gifts away to your family. The first one is gold, and that means kingship on earth. The second one is frankincense, and that means deity, right? And like last week, the beautiful feet. Like, whose feet are you willing to wash? Whose feet are you willing to wash? And as you get down on your knees and just give your all to Jesus, to God, great things will happen in your life. Like you won't get like the blessings of like, oh man, $1,000,000. Like, you probably won't get that, but God is gonna put you in the positions that He wants you to be in. To want you to be in, so you can further like pour into others about the kingdom of God. So from your blessings, it's not just for you, it's for other people. It'll pour into you, and like Jesus poured out His life for us, we're gonna be doing the same for other people. And this week we talked about myrrh and how it is a symbol of sacrifice. Jesus sacrificed being comfortable in heaven to come down to us, to redeem us, to restore us, to restore our minds, our bodies, our souls to what it should be, and it'll be far better than ever before. So I invite you this Christmas, if you haven't already, to accept Jesus into your heart, into your life, and to pick up the Bible, to go to a church, and just take that step. And hopefully this hits home for you and your family. And next week we're gonna be doing a special Christmas Eve service at the same time, 7 o'clock. But if you're on my Instagram, so next week, 7 o'clock, Christmas Eve service on my Instagram account. It might be a little earlier because I have to post that physically. I can't really schedule that in. And then after that, I'm going to take a brief sabbatical, just refresh my mind so I can have the best content ready for the new year. And it might be some new things coming in. So, like always, I love y'all, and peace.